Hey guys, Solomon here. Welcome back to Terraria Season 2. Today we have quite a bit to cover, so let's go ahead and start with the first thing, which is my house, which as you can see has expanded in size by quite a lot since the last time I played. So first of all, we have 5 different rooms, all set upon a nice gray brick base. We have my workshop here, which has all the stuff I had before, in addition to a bottle on a table, which creates an alchemy table, so now I can make potions and various buffs and everything. I have a sawmill, which allows me to create all sorts of furniture items, and we also have a loom, which allows me to craft fabric from cobwebs. And using these tools, I have actually created for myself a very useful item, the bed. By right-clicking on a bed, you set your spawn point, so when you're traveling on a large world like the one I'm on, well, it's a medium world, but even for a large world, beds are going to be your best friends, because you can basically plop down a bed, and as long as you have a room that I believe has to meet the same requirements as housing for NPCs, then you can use a bed as a spawn point. So, that way, you can, if you die, you don't go all the way back to the spawn point, you can appear right above the tunnel you're at, or in the tunnel you're at, depending on where you set up the spawn point. Long story short, beds are useful. Make sure to use them if you're playing Terraria a lot. We got myself a costume room here, where I've put up a lot of the costumes I've got from Halloween. And I should mention now that there are a lot more costumes which I can get right now, because this is the Christmas season. Between, I believe, December 15th and December 31st, mobs will, as you've already seen, have different skins similar to Halloween. The slimes right now are dressed up like presents, if I can get one on screen to show it off. Oh, by the way, this is a pine tree. I'll explain that in a little bit here, but unfortunately I can't seem to find packaged slime, so I guess we'll just climb up this rope here onto a little bridge here that I created. So, I created this as a faster way of getting to the snow biome, because there are a few things I want to talk about over there. And I guess we'll talk about the present slimes later. For now, let's just go over here to Snow Base, and let's take a little bit of time to familiarize ourselves with the NPCs. So, I've already talked about the merchant. Over here we have the nurse. As I stated before, you can pay the nurse and she will basically heal you. The way the price for healing works is that for every 4 HP that you have to recover, it will cost you 3 copper. So it's basically a 75% exchange rate. For every 100 HP, it's 75 copper. It's basically a ratio in that respect. In addition, for every debuff that she would remove, you will also have to pay an extra 7 silver and 50 copper. The reason why I have to pay 7 silver 50 copper right now is because I am under the effect of the campfire buff. This is a bug, but, I mean, it's not a serious... Okay, it is a serious bug. Long story short, if you're going to set up a nurse, make sure she's not close to a campfire, because otherwise you're going to have to pay an extra 750. Over here we have the Demolitionist, and this guy can be your best friend, because he will sell explosives to you. He will sell grenades, bombs, and dynamite. Dynamite is by far the most powerful explosive item, and it is definitely worth getting if you have the gold for it. I will definitely be using a bit of that later on, for exploring the corruption later. For now, though, we got a few other things to talk about here. First of all, let me just mention something that I actually discovered off-screen while experimenting around with the game. Basically, for every NPC you have living in an area, the mob spawn rate in that area will decrease. And if you have 3 or more mobs in one area, sorry, NPCs, not mobs, the mob spawn rate will be 0. So, right now, this is a guaranteed safe spot. Only passive mobs will appear. No monsters, no slimes, nothing. Now, there are a few situations where this will change, such as a blood moon or a goblin invasion. But we'll talk about those when they're more pertinent. For now, let's climb onto the roof so I can show off something I did find off-screen. What I found up here, above the heavens, is a floating island. Now, the way floating islands work... What's with that noise? I do not remember floating okay, never mind. Sorry. I had a brain fart just now. I thought this was the corruption music, but it's not. I'm just stupid. But anyway, this is a floating island. As you can see, it is a bunch of land on top of a cloud. We got rain clouds here. It's pretty much an island in the sky, and if you use this correctly, you can make yourself a nice little base. Now, the only problem with floating islands is that you have harpies, and these things are not very nice. In fact, I dare say they are quite hard to fight. However, it is worth to find floating islands anyway, because usually they will have a little house on top of them. And if you go inside and open the chest inside, you can usually find nice little accessories, like the Wild Lucky Horseshoe, which basically negates fall damage. So if I were to fall from this height, I would take no damage at all. Just to kind of show it off right now. See, no damage at all. So I am perfectly safe from fall damage, which is really good, because it will be very useful in the corruption. And that was a feather. The harpies can shoot projectiles in the form of feathers, which is another reason why they're very dangerous. But yeah, if you can find a floating island and get a lucky horseshoe, you will be set for quite a while. That much I can say for certain. Now, as I was stating before, and we should be able to see some now, hopefully, and if not, we'll at least see some zombies who are in different outfits. But because it's the Christmas... Oh! Okay, so here's another thing right here. See all this sand I placed right here? The reason I did this is to set up a sort of mini desert biome. And the reason for this is so I can grow cactuses as part of a cactus farm. Here's the present slime, by the way, which I just killed with my new item, the Fruitcake Chakram, which you can get from presents. So as part of the Christmas season, enemies will drop presents, much like how they dropped goodie bags during the Halloween season. Here is a zombie dressed as an elf, here is a normal zombie, and as I was saying, presents basically drop a different table of goods, similar to how the goodie bags work. One item you can get is the Fruitcake Chakram, like what I am throwing right now. Here's a Santa zombie, and let me just take a moment to get somewhere safe, and I can show off some of the other things you can get from presents. Though, by far, that is not all the things you can get. Oop. Okay, so that's a grappling hook. I did not mean to show that off yet. I will talk about why I have a grappling hook shortly. For now, let's go in here and talk about some of the things you can get around Christmas time. So, from presents, you can get candy cane blocks and green candy cane blocks. Now, these have been in the game since the first Terraria Christmas. However, with the last update, there have actually been a lot of other items added to the present drop table. For instance, you have eggnog, which restores 80 life. You have gingerbread cookies and sugar cookies, which are pretty much a substitute for the soup and the marshmallows. You have star anise. I don't know what that's supposed to be a pun off of, but these are basically a shuriken. And you have pine tree blocks, which allow me to create that pine tree over there to the right. Also, from present slimes, you can actually get giant bows, which are a type of vanity item. Though it kind of looks ridiculous. In fact, it makes me look like a girl, so we'll go ahead and just take that off. As cute as it makes me, let's not keep it on. I suppose I should talk about a few other things here, since I'm on the topic of this. The reason I have the grappling hook, and also this magic mirror, and also, as I showed in a previous room, I gotta remember this isn't Starbound. I gotta stop using that E key to interact with items. Basically, what happened was, I had a bad take. A lot of stuff happened between the last video and this one. I basically explored off to the west, found some corruption, found a cave, found a lot of great stuff, but it was just such a boring video that I decided just not to air it at all. So, there's a lot of stuff you guys missed, but I don't really think you're going to lose much sleep over it all. You're not going to miss a lot. I'll do my best to make up for what I missed. Starting with, of course, the grandfather clock here. If you right-click on it, you can see what time it is. I happened to get this out of a cave that I was exploring in that lost footage. We also have these banners up here. You can get these as drops from enemies. It's like a, I believe it's a 0.5% chance, if not a 2% chance, of getting it as a drop from any monster for the respective banner. So this is a slime banner. You get this from slimes. This is a demon eye banner. You get these from demon eyes, zombie banner, raincoat zombie banner, and umbrella slime. This is a picture I got during the Halloween season. This is Holly. You can get all of this during the Christmas season, actually. We still got my beloved fruitcake chakram. But one thing I did get during the Halloween season I should probably mention is the bloody machete. Now, this was actually a very rare drop. Like, I believe it was a 0.5% chance of getting it from any quote-unquote weak monster during the Halloween season. It's basically a slightly stronger form of the fruitcake chakram. But what's interesting about it is that it has drop-off, as you just saw right there. Now, I actually kind of like this more than the chakram, because unlike the chakram, which goes in a straight line and comes right back, the bloody machete will have drop-off, and you can use this for all sorts of interesting angle shots, just like that. In my opinion, it's a lot more tactical, it's a lot more useful in that respect. And for that reason, I'll probably be using this as like my main weapon until I get something better. Just get this. And let's see, what to talk about next. I guess I should talk about the other item I have. Let's first talk about this vulture here. Vultures spawn in desert biomes. We have not yet found those yet. But because of this cactus farm I set up here by putting down some sand, I can basically grow cactuses, and but as kind of a disadvantage, I do occasionally have vultures and other desert enemies appear within that spot. So that's kind of a disadvantage of this little cactus farm here, but, you know, it doesn't matter. So here's a nice little pine tree I set up with some presents underneath it, just for the holiday season. And let's go over here to the left, because there's actually a few more NPCs in town that I want to talk about. First of all, let's kill this zombie. Let's kill this demon eye here. Let's kill the zombie first. That's a bird. And over here we have the pumpkin house. So, as I stated before in the last video, you can make a lot of stuff out of pumpkin. I actually went ahead and made a pumpkin house. So, in here we have the guide, who I moved here so that I could have the highest possible mob spawning at my spawn point. Over here we have the dye trader, who you are able to get once you get a dye ingredient. So if you pick up a yellow marigold, if you pick up anything that can be used as a dye ingredient, the cyan husk, then this guy will move into your available housing. Now, what the dye salesman will do is he can sell you silver dye at a price of 1 gold, and he can sell you the dye vat, which I have over here. This is what allows you to turn those dye ingredients into dyes. It also allows you to mix dyes together into different combinations of dyes, different colors of dyes. Let me just say there is a lot of dye combinations in this game. If I went into detail on how many there were, oh boy, we'd be here forever. Let me just say for the record though that there is a rainbow dye, and I will describe how to make that once I have all the ingredients I need to make it. Until then, just know that the dye trader is who you go to for dyes. You need the dye vat in order to make dyes, and dyes can be put on your dye slots in order to color your armor. That is why my pumpkin breastplate and leggings are blue and silver respectively. Now, this should be a blue and silver dye combination, but I guess it only works on articles of clothing that would have 2 colors otherwise. Also, during the Halloween season, you can buy this guy's robe. Just kind of mentioning that because it was part of the outtake footage. Anyway, here we have the painter, who you are able to get once you have found a painting of some form. I think. I forget exactly what his unlock conditions are. I think you need to have paintings or something. In any case, the painter has 2 main roles. One, he can sell you paintbrushes, paint rollers, and paint scrapers, which will allow you to apply different colored paints to walls, blocks, pretty much anything you want. That is his first function, so you can now recolor walls and everything to basically paint your house whatever colors you want. You can use this for creativity, for pixel art, whatever you want. Now, he also sells pictures. Now, what pictures are, as you saw on my base, they're basically frames you can put on the wall with nice little imagery on them. But what's interesting about the painter is that he sells different... Oh, excuse me, I'm having a lot of indigestion at the moment. Ugh. But what's interesting about the painter is that depending on the time of day and whatever house he is in, like, in this case he's in the forest biome, depending on the biome and or the time of day, he will sell different paintings. So, because he's in a forest biome, he will sell, I believe, daylight, or maybe through the window. I don't know. I forget the exact list of paintings he sells and where. But if you want to get all the paintings you can from him, it's a good idea to move them all around the place, just as kind of a thought there. What he can also do is sell you wallpapers. And what wallpapers are basically an alternate form of wall. So you would place them the same as you would any other kind of wall block, but it's an actual wallpaper, so it'll actually be decorative. I don't have anything set up with wallpapers yet, maybe later on. Because most of these seem to be season-related, these will probably be gone by the time the season ends in a few days, but, oh well, it doesn't really matter to me, honestly. I guess one last thing I should talk about here is the magic mirror. This is something I actually got from the lost footage. And what this basically allows me to do, if I right-click with it, left-click, it allows me to return to my last spawn point. So the magic mirror is actually a very useful item. Because if you're very deep in a dungeon, if you're in a bad situation, you can magic mirror your way out of it. So, that all said, I can't think of much else to cover at this point. So, I think that will do it for this video. I promise I'll have a much greater adventure once I get settled in for the new year. It's been kind of an awkward stay at home, and a lot of other stuff has been coming up, which has been delaying the videos from coming out. I promise I'll have an actual adventure. We will be going to the east, in fact, toward the corruption past the snow biome and the lands beyond. Hopefully we'll actually find some interesting items in the corruption, and maybe even something else beyond that. But that will have to be for next time on Terraria Season 2. This is Solomon, signing off. Have a good day.